The views, information, and opinions expressed during the following program are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent the views of Access Communications, its representatives, or its employees.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the regular meeting of the Weyburn City Council held in the Council Chambers at 6 p.m. Monday, September 26, 2022. The first thing on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of the regular council meeting and strategic planning and priorities meeting held here September 12th, 2022.
I'll make that motion, Your Worship.
Second?
I'll second that, Your Worship.
Call the question. All in favor? Carried. Additions to the agenda?
Yeah, thanks, Your Worship. None tonight from administration.
Anything from council? Nothing. There's no public hearings and notices. Today we have a delegation, or I should say that we're going to have a proclamation by Cora Rin Kabasha. And there, if you wish to come forward, and we're talking about the proclamation for Community-a-thon month here in October. If you wish to say a few words and then about it, and then we can make the proclamation. I'll let you put your mic down towards your there.
Thank you for allowing us to come in tonight. I've been with Community-a-thon Committee for multiple years now. This organization is truly outstanding. This is the 41st year and has raised over $4 million. This is not possible without the support of the community, businesses, volunteers, performers, and many others. On behalf of the Weyburn and Area Community-a-thon Committee, I would like to send out a thank you to everyone that has been involved over the past years. This year, we're going out with a bang. Fall in love with Community-a-thon. It truly is bringing us back to our roots. Please come to the Legion on October 28th from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. and enjoy some local talent and have a great night.
Thank you. So the proclamation is this. Whereas the Weyburn Community-a-thon has helped local community agencies in Weyburn and the surrounding area for over 41 years by raising funds and awareness leading up to and during an annual live televised event during which performers from the area showcase their talents, and whereas this event has become a tradition in Weyburn and is driven by passionate volunteers from our community, support from our local businesses, and assistance from the representatives of the community agencies being supported, and whereas the Weyburn Community-a-thon is energetic with starting off our new fall theme of Fall in Love with Community-a-thon, and whereas this year's Community-a-thon will help support Big Brothers, Big Sisters, Weyburn, Canadian Mental Health Association, Canadian National Institute for the Blind Foundation, Community Low Income Centre, Envision Counseling and Support Centre, Envision Weyburn, Southeast Advocates for Employment, Spinal Cord Injury Saskatchewan, Weyburn Caravan, Weyburn Youth Centre, and whereas the majority of the funds that are raised by the Community-a-thon will stay in our community by supporting our community agencies, which then invest those funds into their programs and services. Therefore, I, Marcel Roy, Mayor, City of Weyburn, Saskatchewan, for the month of October, do proclaim Community-a-thon Month in the City of Weyburn. With that, we'll just take a picture over here. Give you the proclamation. We're okay? Everything's good? Okay. I was going to say that there was a lot of apostrophes. If you saw in the news, there seems to be some controversy in England about having the apostrophes put back into grammar. There was a lot of apostrophes in that, so just thought a side story on that one. So anyway, reports of standing committees, Police Commission, Councillor Van Betju. Remember the apostrophes.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll do that.
Or commas, pardon me. They're not the apostrophes, the commas.
A regular meeting of the Weyburn Police Commission held in the Administrative Boardroom at 4 p.m. Tuesday, September 20th, 2022. Chief Blunden presented the Mayor's report for August 2022, which included the Weyburn Police Service monthly stats report, Weyburn Police Service 8-year average, charges, community engagement, mental health assist, medical calls, year versus year overtime and overtime report, all for August. Crimes against person had a slight increase in comparison to 2021, but shows a decrease of 23.5% on the 8-year average. Property crime showed a decrease from 27 to 25 when compared to 2021, and the 8-year average shows a decrease of 128 compared to the average of 181. The accounts payable report for August was provided to the board. The bylaw report for August was provided to the board. Moved by Councillor Van Betju, seconded by Councillor Corrigan, that reports presented be received and filed by the board. The annual report, the chief advised the 2021 report will be published on the police website and social media, and then possibly shared on the City of Weyburn website as well. The chief added that the 2022 annual report will be released in the first quarter of 2023. Under new business, Councillor Van Betju inquired if any member teams are ending at the year end, terms are ending at the year end. City Clerk Richter advised that the bylaw does not contain terms, and currently there is no limit on number of years of the Police Commission. Joint meeting with City Council, City Clerk advised that an earlier meeting in the year, the board had suggested holding a joint meeting with the City Council and inquired if the board wished to plan for a meeting. We were moved by Barclay Charlton and seconded by Krista Hubert to go in camera at 4:45 p.m. for closed session. And the board moved back out of camera at 5:48 p.m. and the meeting was adjourned.
We'll mark the report as received. Consent agenda, do you have a motion for the cash activity report and the accounts receivable for August, if you would, please?
Your Worship, I move that the following items on the consent agenda be accepted as presented: the cash activities report and the accounts receivable report, both for August.
I'll worship that. I'll second that, Your Worship. I'll worship that.
So, yeah, too many comments, yeah. All in favor? It passed unanimously. Accounts payable, do you have a motion, please?
Your Worship, I'd like to make a motion that the purchase in the amount of $425,721.57 from September 9th to September 22nd, 2022 be passed for payment.
Your Worship, I'll second that motion.
Call the question. All in favor? Passed unanimously. There's no introduction of bylaws, no unfinished business. New business. We have a development permit for a nursery school. If you would, please, Mr. Warren.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Roy. So we have a report from Janine Fletcher, Development Officer, in regard to discretionary use application. A permit 2022.027. So they're looking for a change of use to nursery school. So discretionary use permit application has been received from the Weyburn Cooperative for development of an addition to a nursery school in the lower level floor of 210 3rd Street Northeast, which is Grace United Church. The site is currently zoned as a central business district, and nursery schools are considered discretionary use in that zone. The applicants are proposing to convert the basement of the church to a nursery school. The subject property is located again on 3rd Street and on Cotto Avenue, and then the building's main floor is used as a church. So as shown on here is an aerial view of the location. Also, here's a zoning layout for the area. Floor plans provided as well to council on how the nursery school would be put in that area of the church. So as discretionary uses, or neighborhood notices are required to be sent out to all residents within 75-meter radius for the subject property, which notifies them of the application of opportunity to provide their concerns and feedback to council. Notices were sent out on September 2nd. No formal responses were received within the time frame, but we actually received one from a resident today via email. There was some concerns about parking around on 3rd Street, and it's more in regards to people ignoring the 2-hour limit within that area. So that's a concern they have with the nursery school being there and people ignoring the 2-hour parking within that area of the city. This will be, the proposed development is compatible with OCP and contributes to mixed uses within the central business district area and promotes more efficient utilization of existing buildings, which is typical only used for church or special occasions. So also is designed to provide, the central business district zone is designed to provide for the most intensive areas of retail, service, and commercial development in the city. Zoning bylaw does not require any parking in the central business district for nursery schools. However, there is available parking for patrons in the parking lot owned by the Grace United Church to the rear of the building off of 4th Street. So this does, the proposal does fit within the zoning bylaw. So there's a couple or 3 options in front of council tonight. Option one is to approve development permit 2022.027 for a nursery school in the lower floor of 210 3rd Street Northeast without further conditions. Option 2 is to approve the permit for the nursery school in the lower level, subject to the following conditions, which is building permit shall be required, public health and fire department inspections and approval shall be required prior to operations, and the owner shall comply with all provincial acts and regulations regarding to child care facilities. The last one is refusal from council. So any proposed use must provide a reason for that refusal. The officer making the motion for refusal should provide reasons for that motion. Recommendation from staff. The development permit application meets the requirements of the zoning bylaw. Staff is recommending that option 2 is moved forward with to approve the discretionary use development permit 2022.027 with the conditions listed above.
Okay. So with that, do I have a motion, please?
Yep. Your Worship, I'll make a motion that discretionary use development permit application 2022-007 for the development of an addition, to a nursery school in the lower floor of 210 3rd Street Northeast, Block 22, lots 10, 18, 19, Plan 31, 89, and 99, SE 36354 be approved with the conditions as recommended.
Do you have a second?
Your Worship, I'll second that motion.
Discussion?
Thank you, Your Worship. Matthew, we had a very similar request in the past. Is this any different, or is this because play school is only for 2 hours that we would allow something like this to go in versus Knox Hall, which I think was going to be a daycare?
Yeah, so our building officials went through that facility and made sure it met all the required regulations for that. Also, they have to make sure they meet within the provincial regulations for a child care facility. And so what has happened is that our development officers went through all the information provided. They meet all the requirements required for that, Councillor Morissette.
Any other questions? Nursery schools are 5 and under?
I don't really, yeah, I think they are.
Yeah, 5 and under, as
Yeah.
opposed to daycare is older. And
Yeah, I don't know if it's 5 and under, I don't know if it's 6 and under, but
Yeah,
it's
six, yeah.
younger age groups, yes.
Call the question. All in favor? Carried unanimously. Development permit, discretionary use, house relocation. You would, City Manager?
Yep, thank you, Mayor Roy. So once again, we got a report from Janine Fletcher, Development Officer. So we're looking for a ready-to-move dwelling, so it's a house relocation. So discretionary use development permit application has been received for a house relocation from outside the city, which is similar to a ready-move dwelling unit. The house will be placed at 233 Mergen Street. The site is currently zoned as residential semi-detached, and a ready-to-move RTM dwelling is a discretionary use. The subject property is located at the corner of Mergen Street and Cotto Avenue. The applicant is proposing to bring the existing single detached dwelling from outside the city, which measures 8.5 meters by 12.3 meters. So again, we've provided neighborhood notices because it's a discretionary use towards our neighbors within that area, within the 75 meters, and notifies them the opportunity to provide feedback to this request. The notices were sent out on September 7th, and no concerns or objections were provided from the area. So it just shows a map of where the house will be located. This is a picture of the house that would be moved into the city. So there is, again, 3 options provided in front of council. So option number 1 is to approve a development permit 2022.028 for the ready-to-move dwelling unit at 233 Mergen Street without further conditions. Option 2 is to approve, subject to the following conditions, that the new RTM dwelling shall comply with all minimum setback requirements as set out in Table 5.5 of the zoning bylaw 2020-3412, that the building permit application shall be submitted complete with site plan and construction details of the RTM prior to starting construction of the foundation for the building. Inspection shall be included with the building permit application, and landscaping compatible with the neighboring residential properties shall be completed within 2 years of the building being issued, a building permit being issued. Option 3 is refusal, and again, council has to provide reasons for that refusal. So staff recommendation, a development permit application for the proposed RTM dwelling unit meets the regulations of the R2 zone regarding setbacks, lot area, frontage, parking, and landscaping. Additionally, no neighborhood concerns or comments were provided. Therefore, staff is recommending option 2 to provide approval of discretionary use permit 2022.028 with the conditions listed above.
Do I have a motion, please?
Your worship, I would move that discretionary use development permit application 2022.028 for a ready-to-move dwelling unit at 233 Mergen Street be approved subject to the conditions as recommended.
Second?
I'll second that, Your Worship.
Call the question. All in favor? Oh, sorry, there shouldn't. I apologize. Question, go ahead.
Thanks, Your Worship. The City Manager doing a great job in absence of the Director of Planning and Engineering tonight, so we'll see if we can tough it up a little bit. Normally, when this kind of thing is happening, it's a pre-manufactured house off the factory floor that's coming in and being put on a lot. How is this, because, and I don't know for sure, but this looks to me like this is not a brand new home. So how does the inspection process and approval process work for a home that's, however, it's not brand new, coming in, and then once it's here, how does it, if you could?
Yep, so it's a requirement of a building official to go and inspect that home. So Amanda Kaufman, our building official, drove out to an outside community to review the older home to make sure that it met all the requirements. So what she would do is say it's fit to be moved into the city and fits within all those requirements. After that, when the building is brought into the community as put in within the requirements, is that a building inspection happens again for that building once it's located within the city that way.
Good. Perfect, thank you.
This was brought up at SUMA a while ago, saying to bring in older used homes to bring in simply because the unfortunate thing is people can't sell them out in the smaller communities, and that cities like were to look to do it. So this is a progressive way of moving forward with this type of things. Call the question. All in favor? carried unanimously. The next one is the relocation of SAS Power's transmission line at the landfill. You're declaring a conflict. So at this point, you shall be excused from this. Director of Engineering, if you would, please.
Thank you. So this is the relocation of the SAS Power transmission line at the landfill. So we currently have an overhead 72 kV three-phase transmission power facility, including a 25 kV underbuild, is running through the City of Weyburn landfill site. The interception of the SAS Power infrastructure with the active landfill face is impeding the development of the landfill's long-term filling, environmental control, and operational plan, as well as presents a safety hazard with the daily operations. The city's permit to operate a waste disposal ground expired on July 1st, 2022. Ministry of Environment only renewed the city's permit to operate for another 19 months with the caveat that the city would close its current non-engineered operating phase and start operating in a new engineered cell within that time prior to applying for the next permit renewal. This ministry required work cannot be done until the SAS Power transmission line has been relocated out of the landfill. In July 2021, Council approved the Engineering Department's recommendation to proceed with the request to SAS Power to have their infrastructure relocated around the Weyburn landfill site using $550,000 from the General Operating Reserve to pay for the construction project. The Engineering Department then immediately proceeded with requesting a formal quote from SAS Power and completing the corresponding construction applications to ensure the project will be completed in the 2022 construction year. SAS Power provided the city with an initial estimated high-level cost of $750,000 plus or minus 50% to complete the relocation request. As of early September, SAS Power provided the Engineering Department with an updated cost estimate based on the detailed design and subcontractor costs for construction. The updated cost estimate was higher than the original at $970,000 due to increased material, resources, and subcontractor costs. These increased costs are a product of the current market, and therefore such drastic increases could not be predicted. A letter from SAS Power summarizing the reasons for the new forecasted cost is attached. As of August 31st, 2022, the landfill operating revenues from disposal fees have already exceeded the expected annual amount by $24,788. The Engineering Department is also in the process of renewing the refuse bylaw with a proposed increased rate schedule for environmental and disposal fees starting in 2023, which would increase disposal fee revenues for the next 3 years. Our request is the Engineering Department would like to request an internal loan for $550,000 to cover up to a total of $1.1 million to complete this line relocation. This would be paid back over 5 years with landfill revenues. And the reason we've asked for 1.1 is they are still saying this is a forecasted cost with not all subcontractor costs coming in. So we are asking for a bit of a buffer there that should it surpass the $960,000, we can cover it within this request. And attached there is the letter from SAS Power.
Do I have a motion, please?
Thank you, Your Worship. I'd like to make the motion that Council approve the request of the Director of Engineering for an internal loan in the amount of $550,000 to cover the costs of the SAS Power transmission line relocation at the city landfill to be paid back to the city over a 5-year term from landfill revenues.
Do I have a second?
Your Worship, I'll second that motion.
Discussion? Mel?
Can you help me understand, Jen, why SAS Power doesn't pay for any of this?
SAS Power is deeming it a request of the city and saying that they have no need to move the line, so it is at the request of the city, although we are not allowed to operate within so many meters of that line because of the garbage and proximity to it, but they have designated that this is a request of the city and SAS Power has no need to move the line.
I would suspect you've undertaken every avenue with them to.
Yeah, we've tried multiple negotiation options prior to this to see if there could be some kind of cost sharing with it, and they have been unsuccessful.
Thank you.
Anything else? It's very unfortunate that that's where we sit, and we have to, because we can't build any closer to it, right?
No, we can't even operate our equipment near it, and it is hindering our operation quite significantly.
Going forward then, call the question, all in favor? Carried unanimously. I should have noted at the start there that Councillor Mickle is not with us here tonight, too. So now we'll have, but we still had quorum, so moving forward. Inquiries and announcements. Anything? So just the only announcement is that on the next council meeting will be on the 11th of October. That is a Tuesday because Thanksgiving is on October 10th. So we're moving to a October 11th meeting on this.
I just have one announcement, Your Worship. I want to thank everyone who was able to attend the Treaty 4 event today outside of Weyburn City Hall. We will have the flag, Treaty 4 flag up at City Hall for the rest of the week. It was really a great event. I want to thank the organizing committee, you know, the people who were able to attend and assist us with celebrating the event today. It was really great to see, and you know, it was really good for us to share. I think it was a really important event for the city of Weyburn today.
With that being said, there's no notice of motions, and so with that, we'll call for an adjournment of the meeting. Thank you.